Right, well, Mr. Wills isn't here. This is our traditional now reminder phone call because John's probably fell asleep. He likes these support calls that I give him.
Likes to feel wanted. You have to go through his agent, his people.
Exactly. Yeah, well, Andy's saying, you know, we have to go through your agent these days. Are you coming on or what? So what are you up to then? You're just dying. You need to get off the phone and ring the emergency services then.
Tell him to ring 101, not plug up the system.
Yeah. Why don't you talk about that on the roundtable? You want to talk about body cake? Just get on, you git. All right, hang on. All right. Hurry up. I definitely don't want a rectal view of Mr. Gasson. That's definitely not what anyone needs.
Oh, that's my front.
How many people in that angle?
Yeah, exactly.
He's obviously been watching some Polish art films or something and changing his camera angles.
Every rap video from the 90s.
Yes, yeah.
It needs to be inside a cheese grater for that.
Yes. Every Jamiroquai video is inside a cheese grater. Right, Kev, hope you're all right, mate, if you're listening to the podcast. Haven't seen you, miss you. And seeing Robbie being wheeled away in that chair on Saturday, it's just made me think I do actually miss having Kev.
Well, you'd rather have Kev there than Robbie
100%.
in a wheelchair.
Yeah, Rob looked like a dick. Kev looks all right.
The sympathy that poor old Robbie gets.
I bought him a beer. The ambulance crew was surprised. Come over with a best bitter while they were like sorting out his foot.
What's the story there then?
He just took a tumble, didn't he? He just collapsed down the stairs.
The best thing was we'd scored 4 goals and won, right? And we're top of the league. But he injured himself celebrating, lancing, getting a draw at Ashford. That's the best thing about that whole story.
True commitment.
It was quite a spectacular tumble as well. It came out of nowhere.
Yeah, that's what he's like, though. I wasn't even surprised.
Bit of contact, and he felt like he was entitled to go down, kind of thing.
He anticipated it, didn't he? A bit of anticipation there.
Drew the challenge.
He drew. Well, have we? Well, right, you've got people playing chess. You've got what you got in your hand, John?
It's called a book, Chris.
Yeah.
What are these things? What are these things?
My insulin.
I'll just do that.
Off, so it's out of insulin. So if I expire halfway through, you'll know why. That's my excuse for leaving.
Sorry, John, my line every time I hear things like that. Just which pocket's your wallet in?
What?
John, I've been saying the same line for donkey's years. Which pocket's your wallet in? All right, it's now dead. That's dead on arrival, that joke now. All right. Fucking hell.
I
Tough
get
crowd.
it. As in, you know, I don't really care about you. I'm just going to have your wallet.
got that's right. Theme of what you're talking about with Robbie, I thought, yeah, that was interesting. As he was laying there writhing in agony, I thought his best mate would be rushing over to him and checking if he's all right. Instead, he got halfway down there with his drumstick in his hand and then thought, shall I go and comfort him? Shall I go and see if he's all right? No, I'll start a chant directed at him, wanker.
Who did that?
You did.
Oh, yeah. I was right, though.
Unbelievable.
You got half the way down as though you were going to check on him anxiously, and then you stopped, and then you could see it ticking through your mind, and then you started that chant. I can't be too critical because I joined in on it.
Amazing.
And who says we're uncaring? Chaps, it gives me great, and ladies actually, because we've got a lady present as well. We've got the wonderful Flat White Andy. We've got Leon. We've got the returning Ian. We've got Johnny Wills. We've got Charlotte somewhere. And we've also got the Ginger Ninja himself, Georgie Boy. Thanks for coming on. Yes, another week, another glorious victory on what we hope is going to be the promised land of. But yeah, we better not talk about that. I didn't think the game was going to happen on Saturday. I just thought that was rained off, and with a miracle, we may have lost the groundsman. I'm not sure if Mr. Rudkins is a happy man, and they managed to get that game on. I mean, tremendous from the club. It was great to see everyone mucking in. Any thoughts on? I mean, was it just me? I mean, did we all think it was rained off? I mean,
Yeah, I assumed it was rained off, to be honest.
I was pretty convinced, I must admit. I was continually checking, even to the point when we got out of the van.
A word on that. So it's a tough one because obviously Simon Rudkins, experienced groundsman. We know we had a year without him, and the pitch wasn't as good. And you got to respect what he says about the pitch. And it had been played on Thursday for the under-23s. In a big match as well, and it's a tough one. And I think first, thanks to Simon Rudkins, his expertise getting that game on, because not a lot of other groundsmen would have been able to work that pitch, so it was playable, even if he wasn't certain it was playable. And I just think now, in a time where over the last 2 years we've had so many games called off for all sorts of reasons, and we could do in the future. And you've got 900 people there wanting to see a game of football. It's just so important to get the game on. Like the next home game in 2 weeks' time, I know it's used for other reasons, but the next men's home game in 2 weeks' time could get called off for any sort of reason. And we might not use the pitch again almost this month. So they've got to be the priority of getting the game on. And I think the ref made the right call.
Yeah, I agree with you, George. And the pitch generally played okay, didn't it? We saw some great football out there. It was one of the best performances we've seen from the team this season. I thought it is a dodgy decision. It's a big decision to make, but how important it is to have those 3 points, and the teams below us chasing us. They've got the pressure. They've got to win games in hand, and even if they do, they're not on the same level points as us. But it was a tremendous result, and considering how the other results went, to have got that game up and running is big credit to whoever was involved, and that includes Simon as well, doesn't it, for his work on the pitch. It's just one of those things. It's going to get battered at times.
I think most importantly, when I was watching the game, I never thought it was dangerous. I'm sure we've all been at games that have been abandoned where the ball, if someone makes a pass and the ball just stops dead in its tracks, and that's when people start, flying into tackles. You've got, strong athletic blokes out there that are capable of making strong tackles, and yeah, when it gets dangerous, someone could get hurt. But throughout the game, I didn't think it was ever dangerous for them, which I think is the most important thing, really. I mean, obviously, Simon's going to be pulling his hair out over the pitch, but for me as a fan, I just wanted to see a game of football. I'm sure the players wanted to play football. And yeah, like I say, I never thought it was dangerous for them out there.
Didn't play that way, did it? It wasn't. You wouldn't have.
No.
If we played some fantastic football.
No, there were very few occasions where the ball held up at all. Really, there were a couple of splashy bits, but other than that, it played really well. I mean, it's a sort of testament to the condition of the pitch overall, isn't it? Really, that it can cope with that level of rainfall at all without turning into a quagmire.
I mean, just before coming on here with you guys, I was scrolling through Twitter, and I don't know if you know Asher, who manages Hollington. He took a quick video.
Oh, blimey, yeah.
And it was ridiculous how that game went ahead. That was stupid. So I think he tweeted Simon,
I'm not trying to wind him up at all. Yeah.
I don't know.
Never.
But
yeah, I mean, what a game! Managed to get it on. Just shout outs to Billy and credit to Mr. Burney, Gary Histed, obviously, because he's involved with everything, and a few other fans for cracking in, because there was a corner that was a little bit dodgy, and they managed to clear a ton of water and get that game going. Brilliant stuff. And I mean, who wants to start on the actual match? Because the match itself was, it's just love every second of it. Well, who wants to start on that?
Well, if you want.
Yeah, go on, Ian, please.
Yeah, I thought it was really fun, wasn't it? I thought Faversham were really fun in a kind of rubbish way, but they were really fun. They kind of came and attacked, which is always, very few teams come to the Pilot Field and go, right, we're going to come and attack. And it sort of seemed like a strange decision until you kind of worked out that the reason they were doing that is because they didn't have a midfield or a defence to speak of, really. So incredibly vulnerable as soon as we got the ball. But, in the first half, Louis was outstanding in the first half. He made a really brilliant save in the first couple of minutes and then was just, absolutely secure and safe. But he had quite a lot to do. It was just that every time we got the ball, we kind of carved them open. And obviously after half time, we really took them apart. There was a moment just at the stroke of half time where Gary and the coaching staff kind of stayed out of the dressing room, and were kind of obviously sort of deep in conversation about something. And I couldn't really tell what it was, but immediately in the second half, we just took them apart, really. So I don't know what change they were making or what tinkering they were doing, but wherever it was, it worked. But yeah, I thought Faversham were fun. They had a number 9 who sort of fell over screaming in a kind of entertaining fashion. They had a number 10 who lost it completely with various of his teammates, which is always entertaining. I thought they were crap but fun, which is what we want. That's what you want in an opponent, isn't it? Crap but fun.
But were they as bad as Whitstable? I thought Whitstable were worse than them, but then maybe that's just me.
Oh no, yeah, I thought Whitstable were worse. I thought Faversham did try to take us on a bit. And coming back to what Ian said about that save of Louis in the first 5 minutes was really, really, really was a good one of the best saves I've seen this season. That bloke hit it so hard at him from point blank range, and how it didn't go through him, I'll never know. And he caught everything. He caught
his new gloves. It's that December Player of the Month. His new AB gloves.
Yeah, but they did try, and they rather painfully in the second half, they never gave up as well, which I thought was pretty irritating. Everybody wanted to call it quits after Jack Dixon went off. I think everybody wanted to sort of just tuck it up, and they just wouldn't stop trying, which I think everyone found.
Lady boys, go on, sorry, go on. Well, it's a Ladyboy reference there. Sorry,
bit niche.
Yeah,
one for our specialist fans out there. So all credit to them for that. I thought, and I thought both the pitch was playable, and both teams played well on the pitch. They didn't go sliding around like a load of Burks trying to take each other out as well. So it's almost like they took responsibility, and it became a better game because of that.
They got the game played. To be fair, particularly when Faversham were getting hammered, they never really bitched about the pitch at all. They could have done, which was good of them. Really good of them. There was
handy. They were only 1-0 down at half time, so they didn't go marching into the referee's room. If they were 4-0 down, they might have gone battering the referee's dressing room down.
Well, it stopped raining by that point, hadn't it?
Yeah.
So,
and the pitch playing all right, really. In just a few areas. Generally, it didn't affect the game.
Well, you could just point to the first goal we scored. That's lovely passing football on a pitch where the ball's running true.
And the third goal as well, with Sesay cutting through. And if the pitch was unplayable there, then the ball would have stopped after he nutmegged the player as he went through. The ball would have just stopped if it wasn't playable. So it's held up really well.
He did. He came in from that area where it was at its worst, where Billy was down there sweeping away and probably ruined another pair
Chelsea
of
boots.
Ruined another pair of Brantano's finest footwear. I wouldn't mind betting. But I see him scampering out in his football boots at half time. He couldn't wait to get out there in his football boots.
Talking of his shoes, what was he wearing, George? Remember when we did the Q&A afterwards? He was wearing a new pair. He got them.
Honestly,
from someone.
Chris. Seriously, Chris,
drunk,
I don't remember any of the Q&A.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
I was gone.
You were drunk.
Completely gone, mate. Don't remember anything. I know I said some things. I don't know what I said. But I'm sure they were nice. So. Yeah, don't ask me about the Q&A.
Okay, right. Well, yeah, talking about the game, let's talk about the goals. Ben Pope, a couple of cracking goals. Obviously, Finn Amara scoring that overhead. I had a fresh beer in my hand and I lost most of that. And then obviously Sesay getting a goal as well. Let's talk about some of those. I mean, the Finn goal.
I want to
Christ.
talk about that front three. To me, that's the best performance from any front three lineup we've had this season as a unit. Nori was fantastic as well on the right, providing a real threat. So it's not like anyone could go and double up or move a better defender over to cover Sesay, because Nori was a real threat as well. Ben Pope
and defensively as well.
Yeah, and
Nori,
defensively,
proper on it.
But I'm annoyed at one of our defenders. But
Okay.
the Ben Pope, another assist as well with a flick on. But the defender I'm annoyed at is Finn O'Mara, because actually this is a time when we're trying to negotiate a fee for a player, and he's decided to up his value with an overhead kick. Can you not, mate? Can you not? Can you save that until after we've signed?
Ridiculous.
So,
did you see Craig Stone grab his head like Jesus Christ when he saw that ball when he hit the overhead kick?
Yeah, I was just describing it today at work, and they were like, "What, proper overhead kick?" Yeah, proper overhead kick. Not those ones that they call an overhead kick now that aren't really. So quite annoyed actually at Finn. Think he'd have waited a couple of weeks, that'd have been great. But yeah, what a goal. And yeah, another assist from Ben Pope too.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, it was a solid team performance. That's why it was difficult to pick match, wasn't it? You could pick out a few heroes from the back or midfield, and of course then you had a spectacular performance by Ben again. Really shows how much we miss him when he's not in the side. But it's the best I've ever seen Nori play, I think. He's like had a confidence back and was going forward. And then the other side, you've got, as you said, George, Sesay, every time he got the ball, he was putting that defender in threat, wasn't he? And going past him or cutting inside. It was just, it was really dynamic. It reminded me of a couple of seasons ago when we had two wide players on great form, and it was a threat every time we were going forward.
I think Sesay was probably my man of the match. I must admit, he really, really, really made things happen. Him, and particularly in the first half, Nori. The way they just hugged Sesay must have been bloody lonely over there in the on the far side with no spectators in that weather. But he just hugged that touchline, and the ball, it was always on. That ball was always on, and he really gave them a lot of trouble, and contributed to 2 goals and scored his own goal, and they never got to grips with him at all.
Yeah, he definitely deserved a goal. If you're not getting man of the match, get a goal. So, I mean...
A bit of a bummer they didn't announce his name, though, did they?
Did they not?
Announced it as Finn Amara.
Did
Which I thought was a bit harsh.
Okay.
But, yeah.
It was one of those games where really you could look right across the whole team, and there was no sort of less than 7 or 8 out of 10 performances, really. There were people who had quieter games because they had, because of the way that the game panned out. Like Jack Dixon and Sam Adams and Ryan Worrell in midfield would, absolutely bossed the whole thing.
One thing I noticed that was fantastic about Jack Dixon, he went off after 60 minutes and his kit was completely clean. And it just showed how good a game he'd had, that he hadn't had to be sort of lunging around and making those tackles. He was actually playing in the right place, making things happen. And yeah, he went off after 60 minutes and he was pretty clean. I thought that really just summed up how good a game he'd had.
Better season so far.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that, George. But the with Tom Chalmers being out, that was it. Marcus Goldsmith was in, and I thought he had a very good game considering. I thought it wasn't massively noticeable that Tom wasn't there, so it was
Well, Marcus gets forward again as well. Not quite as a different player to Tom, obviously, but he gets forward again. So it gives the midfield and the defender on that side problems because they've got a winger and they've got him coming up as well. So it just really gives people problems.
That's good. It's good. Any more words on Faversham? Anyone want to talk about anything else about Faversham?
Just the only downside was that sort of bad injury right at the end of the second half, and we just hope that lad will be up and running again soon.
Which lad, John?
Robbie.
Oh, Robbie. Oh, all right. It's
I
fine.
thought you were referring to sarcastically to the Faversham bloke who not only laid down, he laid down on the far side of the pitch. And if I was the physio, I would have just told him to piss off. I ain't running all the way over there, mate, just for you to get back up again, which is what happened. I bet he was cursing as he jogged across that pitch. There were some great moments, though, weren't there? There was one bit where Sam Adams made a run from midfield late on, and it was like he was running across ice as he just sort of ran tippy-toed through the pitch with the ball at his feet, and it was just
Talking to Robbie, by the way,
so entertaining.
We have Robbie. We have a latecomer in Robbie. Talking of entertaining.
Show us your foot, dickhead.
I'm here.
Yes. Robbie, we've been really kind about you, Robbie, and we just want to know, are you okay?
Jesus Christ, the massage foot.
We're back. Oh, COVID. You can't give us COVID.
I thought you hurt your foot.
Yeah.
He's got COVID. He's got COVID.
Isolate him.
Well, we were mentioning, well, actually, I didn't mention this. Someone else mentioned the fact that we all thought George was going to come and help you. When you obviously had anticipated some contact, but instead George stopped and started singing a wanker chant that a few people joined in. I mean, what's your feelings about that, Robbie?
Fully justified.
Were you aware of that of sympathy as you were riding about in that?
Oh, it's what I expect. It's fully what I expect.
Yeah.
He falls over all the time. Honestly, you haven't known him as long as I have. Right. There's at least every year, there's a notable fall over from Rob somewhere that sticks in the memory.
Is that fake news, Robbie, or what?
They usually don't end up in hospital, to be fair.
To be fair, I said to Daryl, can you take Robbie to the hospital because I did the last one? That's a genuine quote.
Technically, he didn't take me, just rode in the ambulance that time, and I didn't feel like that was something.
And there was a difference this time.
I wasn't actually that drunk, to be fair. I was just being stupid because Lancing held Ashford.
Why are Lancing where Lancing are? What's
because they just are.
About? I don't understand though. I mean, they look pretty decent at the pilot field.
Yeah,
they've taken points off Ashford and Cray in the last month or whatever.
It's taken time to adjust to the league, I think. So, obviously, first moving up from the counties, they've just got adjusted to it. I think they've settled in now. They're used to the opposition, and I think it's worked out how to play.
Fair enough. Good answer. Well done. Thank you.
Thank you, Robbie. Yeah. Right. Well, shall we talk the Q&A with Gary?
Yeah, please do.
Yeah. So, George, you remember none of it.
Yeah, that's why I want you to talk about it, because I'd like to find out what happened.
Well, it wasn't that long. Leon, did you stay for it? Who's here that stayed for it? Just Wills?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. I don't know if you agree with me on it, John, but it wasn't that long, but it was good. Gary just said, steady, let's not get ahead of ourselves, the usual stuff. But what was mentioned was Tynekiln, because someone asked about Tynekiln, and the fact that Billy said that the council are delaying it again, and that he's. Have I got that one wrong, John? That's what he said.
Yeah, there was some talk about that. I was just thinking, what a great plan B we have if we have to stay at the pilot field. You look around that ground. There's no other ground like it. We go to all these crummy little places, don't we? And that's such an amazing ground with such history behind it. And I know why we should and all that, but I'm just saying, what a plan B.
What is plan B?
Spend a bit of money doing it up, and I know it.
But this is John Wills's plan B. Yeah, go on, carry on.
You can explain this one to Billy.
Yeah.
And then,
Well, all I'm just saying is if it does, if it's the right thing, then it's the right thing, and people will know better than me, obviously. But if we end up staying there, it's not the worst place to be, is it?
I remember George mentioning to Billy about the attendance. Obviously, we are getting big attendances now, and the plan was it to be about 2,000 or 2,500 initially?
it was about 2, wasn't it? I think.
Yeah, was it? And the fact that obviously that's a nonsense that it needs to be bigger. And
we had 1,000 against Lancing, who didn't bring hardly any supporters, and just your run-of-the-mill league game.
yeah, I know it's crazy.
Yeah, it needs to be bigger because it needs to be bigger for us to get into the National League South.
So either way, something needs to happen. As I say, I'm going to talk to Billy next week, try and get him on and have a chat about this, because the council are apparently delaying it longer. It's got nothing to do with opposition from people that live there, apparently. So I don't know. So I don't want to guess. And he left it at that. That was my recollection, John, but I had a few beers.
You had, and you were asking a lot of questions. My only question was...
Well, no one else was asking questions, John.
Well, question. I asked a question. The question was, why do you keep allowing Laverick to ask so many questions?
So I mean, see what I've got to work with here. Unbelievable. Well, I actually gave the questions to Smithy, yeah, and I said, because I didn't think I'd be there, I was forced to drink alcohol and I stayed longer than I should have done. I was supposed to be doing a family thing. And Smithy said, no, you got to ask the questions now, because he didn't want to talk. So I asked some questions and then John started.
Well, while there's a pause, I've just done some research on Lancing, and basically I've gone from their game against Chichester at the start of the season, and then the game they played against us, and the starting 11s, there's only like 2 players that are in both starting 11s. So they've got different players. So I would expect a tougher game when we go there on Easter Monday than we had at the pilot field. So yeah, different players. I saw they had Ansu Janner at the start of the season, and they don't now. So I imagine perhaps getting rid of him there means they can bring in some other players. I don't imagine he was cheap. So perhaps it's that, and they've found their feet a little bit. But Lancing's ground should be good, shouldn't it?
So Robbie, are you still here?
Yeah, I'm still here. So I think it's a bit of dinner.
Okay, all right. Yeah, so
he is the new Kev Towner. That is what Rob is, eating food on the podcast.
Got a wheelchair. I mean,
you're not in a wheelchair. Are you still in a wheelchair?
No, not in a wheelchair now, on crutches. I was in a wheelchair at the ground, so.
You didn't have a lovely assistant, though, did you? You had Daryl.
Oh, that was a lovely assistant.
No, not in the same league as Kev's assistant, to be fair. Did anyone get that? I didn't understand any of that.
Was it sorry?
What did you say?
Sorry, eating still. I won't criticize that.
Definitely Kev now.
You sounded like the teacher from Charlie Brown.
Older people will get that reference, Leon.
I'm in that category.
Yeah, you are in my category, mate. Yeah. All right. Right. Okay. So moving on from the Q&A, what one of the things we were going to have was the under-23s on today, because they made the final. Unfortunately, some of them got to do a bit of coaching and things like that, and they're young lads. They don't want to do things like this, so they
past their bedtime sort of thing.
I'm keeping that in. Well done, Ian. Yes, past their bedtime. These little.
They got wind that we hadn't all been police checked.
Fucking hell, speak for yourself, Andy.
Well, I know George's going to be.
George, check his hard drive. Check his hard drive, George. Right. Unbelievable stuff. So under 23s, they've made the final. Lancing, 27th of January, by the way, for anyone that wants to go. It's a bloody Thursday evening. Which
at Lancing.
Yeah, it's
that's a shame, because that's a shit drive as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it's about an hour and a half, isn't it? Hour and a half.
Well, it's not the distance; it's just the roads. Once you getting past Brighton, you've got the Lewis snarl up, and then those Shore onto Lancing.
The traffic lights and
what a shit piece of road that is. No offence.
Yeah,
Well, actually,
want
yes, offence. They should get it sorted.
you don't want to upset anyone in the Brighton area. They get very easily offended.
Well, I'm sure they probably
In
want that
Whitehawk.
road. I'm sure they want that road sorted as much as we do.
Well, so that's that.
So anyway, this is a stupid question. They're
Yeah.
playing Lancing, yeah?
No, they're playing at Lancing.
Right.
I
was looking
for a New Haven, something like that.
Who's it, Leon? Sorry.
I'm not 100%. I think it might be either Eastbourne Town or New Haven.
Because that was the thing I couldn't find out who they were actually playing.
Yeah, it's Eastbourne or New Haven.
Ah.
Yeah. So a little bit annoying because that obviously will affect the. It would have been real great if it had been a weekend that a few of us could have got down there. But
Yeah, it's a bit of a shame for the team, really, isn't it?
I'm working anyway that Thursday, but
Well, especially if they're playing Eastbourne or New Haven, because it's not exactly convenient for them either, is it really?
yeah, to be empty ground probably. But
Better off having it this side of Brighton.
bloody Lancing. Right. Chaps, do we have anything else we want to mention? Otherwise, I shall bid you lovely people adieu.
Yeah, a bit of a save the date in general for Hastings fans. I've heard rumours, strong rumours, that there's going to be some reduced price coaches going to Ashford for the game on the 29th. And by the time this one goes out, and if you're listening to this podcast on Dave, the game will be this week. So, yeah, have a look at getting on a coach. I know there's a target from the club to take a few hundred, and wouldn't be great if we outnumbered them at their own grounds for that massive fixture. So, save the date. If it's one that you usually can't get to or away travel's expensive, keep your eyes and ears open for some hopefully reduced travel for the Ashford game.
Yeah, usually Rob French gets that information out there. And it is usually a little bit discounted for people that are in the supporters club.
10%, isn't it?
Whitstable. Who are we playing Saturday? It's Whitstable.
Whitstable away.
There's discounted travel for supporters club members if you want to go on the coach. And believe me, there's some entertainment on that coach. Yeah, I don't think we need to lie. There is some entertainment on that coach if you go. Do I say any more? I don't want to say.
We have the most diverse fan base in the league.
We have the most diverse fan base. That's it. That's what I need to say. Yeah.
I went for the first time to VCD on that coach. It was interesting. Yeah, interesting. Yeah. That's all I'm going to say.
But if you are travelling, if there's more, there should be more than one coach, so you can watch Leon get on one coach and you can get on the other.
I was just going to ask that, whether there's going to be a quiet coach, actually.
main stand only.
Yeah, main stand coach.
That's right.
And there's going to be one coach and it's only terracing on the coach, so you just all stood up.
I'd go on the one where they hand you all a word search as you get on, or something like that. Word search or crochet. Oh, well.
On a historical note, talking about glory days back to the pilot field. I was just reading this book actually. Roger Sindon. Can you see what it is?
Yes, see it, yeah.
Well, I'm sure the people on the podcast can't, but yes, go on.
This is going out on video. This is going out on video as well, by the way. But John, please repeat what the book's called.
It's called Hastings United Through Time. It's by Roger Sindon. And it was just interesting. We had a manager called Bobby Drake back in the 50s. Great manager.
Did he know Charlie Drake? Sorry.
His father was Ted Drake, who played for Arsenal in the 30s and was renowned goal scorer. Scored 7 goals at Aston Villa for Arsenal in one match. And I just thought it was fantastic times. Those days in the 50s and early 60s at the pilot field with crowds between 5,000 and 9,000. You know, it makes you think. And the whole of the side opposite the main stand, it was tiered level and it was absolutely packed with people. About the same time as they had the Speedway going as well, which was eventually, the Speedway was drawing in crowds of 8,000 easy. And it was complaints from the neighbours that meant that the plug was pulled on that. But I suppose it's going back to the history involved with this, with the pilot field.
How old are you then? About 15?
I was just going to ask him if they passed him over their heads down to the front so he could see.
Yeah, flat white Andy knew have been at that match when Ted Drake scored 7.
Yeah, in those days I was Nescafe Andy. They were different times.
He was Snuffbox Andy, actually.
Yeah.
Okay.
In fact, it would have been Camp Coffee, wouldn't it? That's what it would have been in those days.
Yes.
Oh, bloody
Camp Coffee, the stuff in a bottle.
And Shag Tobacco, probably.
Or whether, I don't know whether Camp Andy, I don't know whether we'll stick with that one though. Been said before.
Yeah, well, there you go. Oh, I can rip a tissue. Right. On that note, I think we've lost George and Robbie already. On that note, let us bid all you lovely Hastings fans goodbye.
One last thing, Chris. Just wanted to say one thing. We're top of the league, Chris.
Oh, we're not, are we?
Enough on this yeah, I just don't think that's been mentioned enough this week. Enjoy it. We're top of the league. Best team. Highest attendances in the country at our level. Enjoy it. Great time, isn't it? So, yeah,
I think we do. I think we do, don't we, George?
Yeah, we do enjoy it a bit. Yeah, just like, I know everyone's being a bit like, a bit tentative about saying we're going up and things like that, but we should enjoy it. Yeah.
Well, Louis Rogers for next week's podcast, he's not being tentative, just so you know. He's
excellent. Good.
So, chaps, Andy, Leon, Ian, John, an injured Robbie, and the lovely George and Charlotte. Thank you very much, and see you at the game.
Take it easy.
Yeah.
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 So when you come to Sussex,